I want to start streaming so that it just makes life easier for everybody. And I don't need to come back to this because some days I forget to record. I forgot to record Friday's session. So that is on me. But let's get started. Good evening. Welcome to Creative Recovery. And I'm so excited to have all of you here today. I'm always talking about studying your patterns, understanding that when you are creating, when you are building anything worth building, it starts with you and no one else. You're building for yourself. So I can give ideas of what needs to be in your system, but you are the one that will decide how that system is going to work for you, how it's going to work in your favor. And that's what we're talking about today. So I've called it recovery diagnostics. And moving forward, what we're going to do is we're going to be having the session put up on Substack also. Remember on Friday we discussed using your Substack and using things like that. So everybody should create that Substack, all creatives, everybody, and then you write an article. And I think we'll just, for those on the team, we'll just do it under Creative Recovery Substack and you write every single week. Now, I'm sure everybody here has done this before. You say you want to do something, but you end up not doing it. And today we're not just going to be talking about shaming or identifying where we are weak or where we are vulnerable or where we have blind spots, but it's understanding the gap between intention and actions, between you saying you will do something and you actually doing it, and how you can now bridge that gap in order to be the best version of yourself and provide the best quality, I won't say engagement, but the best quality system that works for the person that you are, not against you. So we're going to use Mentimeter today. And I'll just ask that everybody follows the instructions when we get to Mentimeter, which is now. And you can scan the QR code and this is the code 4753. So you have two options: scan the QR code or go to this website. I'm going to share the link now. 1 second. Let me share the link and then I'll start presenting with this. The link will be in the chat, but the code is on the screen. So go to this link in the chat, and then we are going to be using this regularly throughout the session and not just now. So from time to time, this session, we're going to come back to this Mentimeter and actually use it to build what we want to build. But the first question I would ask you is, what's the first thing you do when your day starts? Do you have the first thing that you do as an individual when your day starts? So we've talked about saying you will do something and not doing it. Some people have a routine of 5 steps. We read Miracle Morning. It gave us the acronym of all the things we need to do when we wake up. So if you apply that, this works for you also. So please let me know. You're supposed to go to the website, enter the code 47387603. If you've been able to enter the code, let me know in the chat because I can't see anybody's response. Has anybody been able to get the code? What's the first thing you usually do when your day starts? So you're going to mentimeter.com and you are entering the code 47387603. So mentimeter.com. If you've gotten the website, please let me know in the chat. So I'll know if you are here. Let me see how many participants.
Hi, DK. Sorry, I'm driving again.
Okay, Lola.
Driving home from work. Sorry.
All right, when we start discussing, you can just tell us yours. Thank you, Lola. Anyone else? For those using your phone, you can go to the Mentimeter while you're on your phone and still chat with us. Devotion and pray. Fantastic. Who else?
Hello, DK. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mariam.
Sorry, can you put the number back again? I've kind of been able, but yeah.
Okay, so I'll call it out. 47.
Hold on, sorry.
4738
4738
7603.
7603. Okay.
All right, Emmanuel, you can write yours in the chat and maybe somebody will help you. Everybody's saying pray, devotion and prayers. Good. Because everybody should know the first thing they do in the day and the last thing they do at night. The first thing you do when you wake up. All right. Do we have everybody's response in? So for those that just joined, we are using a Mentimeter. I want to Duolingo, interesting. Emmanuel says pray. Okay. So we've got Duolingo, we've got devotion and pray, we've got pray. That shows that everybody at least knows that when you wake up in the morning, there's something that you should be doing and then you do it. All right. So let me stop presenting and we've got 3 responses. Am I getting one more response? One second. Since as I got into presentation mode, I have to exit full screen. Okay. All right. So when we are building our routines, and I'll ask another question. When it's time to walk, I'm going to rephrase this question. When you know you're starting your working day, what's the first thing you do? So you can write it in this same chat. When you know you're about to start working, what is the first thing you do? Do you have a routine or do you just jump into work immediately? And this is not the time for us to start giving responses we wish we had, but it's the responses that are absolutely correct that we're to give. The reason I'm asking that question is because sometimes when we start our day and we start everything well, we forget that there are other things that we should be doing, that we could be doing, that we don't do. And when we just jump into things, we don't actually start well. So as we're digging into our systems and strategies, I want us to be intentional about our patterns, our morning rituals. But some of us check our phone before we pray. Some of us can't start our day without coffee. Some of us just jump straight into work, especially if you work from home. As soon as you just wake up and you have a deadline, the first thing you want to do is to do work. And some of us, when it comes to learning, reading, and all the things that we hold important, what we do determines how we spend the rest of our days. I'll ask another question. Do you start your day slowly or intentionally? So are you very reactive and you just jump up out of bed and once the alarm goes off and you start running around? Or are you very, very intentional about, I must pray first, after praying, I do this, after doing this, I do that? The answers to these questions, whether your day is rushed or grounded, will determine how your day goes and how you get the results you get. We know what we are supposed to do. And there's no yes or no. You can tell me in the chat, 90% of the time we know what we are supposed to do, but then why do we delay? Even if we know that delaying is not going to fix the problem, that delaying is not going to get the work done, then why do we also resist? There's this resistance we have to work, and we forget that we should do what needs to be done, or we even forget that we've made a commitment until somebody reminds you. If someone is always reminding you of the things that recurring task that you should do, then there is a problem somewhere. And sometimes we overthink. So why do we delay in doing the things that we're supposed to do? Anybody can unmute and talk. Why do you think we delay, or why do you delay, or why do you think your friend delays or your colleague delays when it comes to doing what needs to be done? Anybody at all?
We find it difficult.
Okay. We find it
Hello,
difficult.
Ma.
Yes. I can't really hear you, Comfort. Okay, Maya said we find it difficult. So the task itself may be difficult. We could also delay because we don't see the task as important, or we think we have time. That time dialogue we have in our head, we just don't end up doing the work. Some of us like the rush that it gives us. We don't even give ourselves time to think. Some of us, we resist for reasons best known to us, or we just completely forget. But you need to know why you delay. So these 4 questions: why do you delay? Why do you resist work? Why do you forget? And why do you overthink? Are questions that you do need to answer. And your response to this question, remember what I always say, that thank you, Comfort. Comfort said this network that is stopping now. It's not a priority for most of us. Your response to these 4 questions, and you can even probe deeper and ask deeper questions, shows where your heart is. If you know you're supposed to do something every Tuesday, for instance, and every Wednesday somebody has to call you, or every Thursday somebody has to call you and say you've not done it, you're doing a disservice to yourself, not just to the person, because number one, you've shown that you're not reliable, and you've told yourself that you're not somebody that keeps your word. So answering these questions, you don't need to answer them now, but you can answer them later. And when we think of what we do, we don't know that we are indirectly building anchors. And if we don't have the right anchors, our system will collapse. So see your system as a ship. I'm a naval girl, so I always use that. And the ship is on the dock. If there is no anchor, if the anchor is not dropped, the ship is going to sink. It's going to drift away. It's not going to be where you are. So see the anchors as the fixed points that keep your day from drifting into chaos. For example, I say I don't check my email first thing in the morning when I want to start working from my 7 to 9. I've not done my 7 to 9 in a couple of months because of my health, but I used to have like 7 to 9 routine. But I don't check emails first. Why? When I check emails, it distracts me. So my anchor is not checking emails. When you abandon your creative ritual, you abandon these anchors that should make you better, everything else becomes negotiable. You will see projects that are just drifting away. You will see deadlines just sneak up. You'll be like, oh, today is the 22nd. Wow. And that sense of control you're supposed to have completely evaporates. Now I understand that we are all going through different things, and life keeps giving you curveballs. So you have other responsibilities, and certain times things don't go the way they should go. However, if you build your life based on a chaotic system when it comes to doing the things that you need to do, you are just going to collapse when the system collapses. Most people talk about building complex systems. I always give tools. I'm like, but today I said, rather than just telling you these are the tools or these are the worksheets that you need, why don't we start building your own worksheets, that you build your own planner for yourself based on the anchors that you build for yourself? There will be your daily non-negotiables. There will be certain things that you will build into your own system that will ensure that it doesn't collapse. So your morning anchors, one thing I must move forward today could be a question you ask yourself. Okay, what's one thing I must do to move forward today? It's not a massive project. It may be praying, it may be journaling, it may be responding to that email, but every day comes with its own things. So you set your intentions the night before, and then daily you are, in the morning you are saying, after my rituals, I sit down and I plan my day. I take 5 minutes to just go through something quickly and plan my day. honest assessment of your current capacity. Based on what I know about today, yesterday night, my uncle, my auntie, my partner, my boss gave me activities that I need to do. So almost everything I have planned before has gone out the window. So what kind of capacity do I have? I will check my capacity based on my health. Someone may check their capacity based on the children's assessment. Maybe somebody sends a message that, oh, an examiner is coming today to school. Another person will set best their capacity on, oh, I have other tasks, I have appointments, I have this. Every morning you're looking at my capacity. You can look at it. So it's like an energy check. And then you're like, okay, this window of on distractive work, even if it's 1 hour, even if it's 5 minutes, even if it's 10 minutes, you will focus on that thing and you will get it done. Work expands to the time that you give it. So there should be a non-negotiable window where you guard your attention fiercely. So you've looked at everything and you're like, okay, when the kids go to school, I can get 1 hour. I like working when the house is quiet. You will now protect that time by yourself. So having said that, when you're building your own routine, first thing one thing you should have on your list are your anchors that will ensure you do what needs to be done. It sets the foundation. It can take you 3 to 5 minutes to go through this. One thing I'm moving forward today is this. I'm moving forward with my attitude, that my attitude is going to change towards this person that I am seeing. Anytime I have a meeting with this person, it drains me completely. I won't let this person control me. Something as simple as that. Sometimes the simplest things are the most difficult to do, or the easiest things are the most difficult because we see them as so easy. Seems irrelevant. But setting your anchors sets you up for success. Your evening anchors, we already have one we do, which is intentions, action. So you can say, I will set my intentions for the day in the morning. But evening anchor, actions, what actually got done? The truth, not the plan. So this is not about criticizing yourself. This is not about judging yourself. You need to acknowledge reality. And these are things we will put in the WhatsApp group. We already have our own way of doing this, intentions, actions. I'm just giving another alternative how your evening anchor can be. What actually got done? What drained me the most today? For me, what drained me the most today was a training I was in from, what time was it? From 10:30 to 3:30. I didn't, as in, I was completely knackered. I think in between I spoke with someone that needed help with it too. And she was like, oh, let's talk later. I knew I could not talk later. One win or one lesson. Sometimes you'll be like, oh, I don't have any lesson. I don't have this thing. Scripture can be a lesson, a scripture that came to mind. You watch the video and you're like, you know what? Before I used to be like, since I work in church and I do media, now I'm seeing a lot of people posting certain things from church service, and I'm like, I've learned a lesson that I need to have a duty of care, that when somebody is in a vulnerable state, when they fainted, when they're crying, and when they are showing their this thing and talking to God, that's not when I should be thinking of content for church. It's a lesson I learned. Now, what are you releasing for tomorrow? It's like planning for today. Okay, today I did not do this. I said I wasn't going to procrastinate. I procrastinated, blah, blah, blah. But tomorrow gives a fresh start. You're like, okay, based on this, these are my intentions for tomorrow. Okay, take a screenshot of these 2 pages. I'll give you a couple of minutes to take a screenshot of this morning and evening anchor. And unfortunately, we are not using Quill for this call. My Quill is giving me issues, and the evening anchor, but you will have access to the slides. So just note those ones. Now, we've talked about these things, but let's go to something else. How intentional are you about how your day starts and ends? We've done day starts. Everybody has talked about the way their day starts. Okay, what about the day, how your day ends? Let's just focus on how your day ends. If it's 0, my day ends chaotic. As in, I just rush. I just fall into bed with Netflix playing. I'm barely aware of how my day ends. I just realized that, oh, next thing, I'm going to bed. I don't even have a bedtime. Once in a while, I understand that, yes, I have to do certain things. I have to do my reflection. I have to do this. I have to do that. I think I picked the wrong one for this because I'm saying strongly agree and disagree at the bottom. Bear with me. But then there's semi-intentional. I want to see how this one works. Please, can you people help me click on the one that works for you? Let me see. I don't know why I'm saying strongly agree and disagree at the bottom. Or I'm fully anchored. I have an evening routine. I go to bed at the same time every day. I pray before I sleep. I do my meditation. I journal. I plan for the next day. I have dinner ready. I plan whatever it is. So the question now is how intentional are your evenings? Because we've done mornings, let's just do evenings. So please let me know in the chat. So we're going back to Mentimeter. The Mentimeter is menti.com and we're using the code 47384603. Okay. I have no idea what we've done, but chaotic. We have chaotic, we have barely aware, we have occasionally, we have semi-intentional and anchored. So we're saying nobody picked barely aware and anchored, but we have people that picked chaotic, occasional, and semi-intentional. And that's a good place to be now. I always say this, that's a good place to be now. How do we go from having that chaotic end of day or that day that's, okay, once in a while, you're not in competition with anybody, but you are supposed to present yourself as the best version of yourself. And if the way you start your day and end your day are important for you to be the best version of yourself, then why don't you be more intentional about it? Why don't you sit down and say, okay, I have co-working in the evening. Once co-working ends, I do this, and an hour after co-working, I am in bed, no matter what. Or if I have a project and I don't go to bed early, how do I make up for that time so I don't rush? The way we start our day and end our days matter. Most of us rush to sleep and rush to start our day. Some of us are very reactive for our evenings. Very, very, very reactive. Some of us are proactive. And if you're reactive and you don't want to be reactive, it's not about going to read all the books and watch all the videos. I've said that give yourself time to study yourself, and you can do this by keeping a time log, asking yourself the difficult questions from your time log, analyzing your time log. Your time log keeps records of 24 hours. So you are now saying, okay, this evening was this. You now start observing how you are changing and how your life is changing. But this is a question I want us to discuss, and anybody can chip in. And if you don't want to chip in directly, you go to the Mentimeter and you give us your response. And that question is, why don't you do what you're supposed to do? So you can write in the chat if you don't want, in the Mentimeter, if you don't want to write here, or you can unmute. But I want this to be a conversation, so I will also read what you say and then we'll have a conversation. Now, most of us know what we're supposed to do, or most of us have said we will do something and we don't do it. The question we have to ask ourselves is why? Why is it that we say, oh, we want to improve our online presence, we will write the articles, we will do X, Y, Z, we make a commitment, even if we are like, nobody will know if you don't do it. But you are supposed to be in a different place. You understand that you need to promote what you do. You need to do your jaga videos. You need to do X, Y, Z. You also need to read. You need to study to be the best in your industry. You need to apply for that course. You need to show up. You need to journal. It could be something as simple as meditation. It's as simple as doing your daily accountability, which we have to take serious because daily accountability helps us keep track. I'm thinking, Lucky, that we might create a GPT. Lucky, I and Emmanuel might create a GPT that will make it easier for you to do it. But doing it in the WhatsApp group is your own way of looking at your record and saying, did I do what I said I would do? So you're going to set your intentions and say, this is what I intend to do. And then we can go through it and say, okay, do they match? We call it procrastination. We call it delayed tactics. We call it so many things. Everybody can have a zillion excuses for not showing up for themselves. Now, I'm not limiting it to online presence. I'm not limiting it to your career. I'm not limiting it to anything. I am looking at in your life generally. There are certain things that you've said you will do by the 1st of January this year. We're not even going to look at previous years, and you've not even made an attempt to do it. 0 attempts. All right. So anybody care to share? Oh, nobody typed. Do I have to present first? Okay. Why don't you do what you said you would do? For me, sometimes it's laziness. I just don't want to do it. I'm just lazy. I don't want to do it. Some people will say, I knew I should do it, but I just did not. I'm aware I did not show up completely. One thing that my coach loves about working with me is I will tell him, he might give us some things to do, and I'm like, I've not even looked at it. Most people, especially I'm sure the social media managers that work here will tell you that most clients blame them for their businesses not thriving when the clients are not doing what they should be doing or what they said they will do. So when other people don't do what they say they will do, we get upset. But we don't do what we say we'll do for ourselves, and we just keep on moving. So let's unmute and have a conversation. Why don't you do what you said you will do?
Priorities setting.
Priorities. Okay.
Yeah.
Lack of priorities. Okay. Do you want to go
Further? Well,
yes.
some things have more priority over other things. Do you see?
Okay.
Why is it that I could do my daily walk every single day? You see, every
You
single
big
day.
cons. How long have you been doing your daily walk? Let's
Oh
talk.
my goodness, yeah. What? A long time, a long time.
And how long have you been doing your Jaga Jaga videos now?
I kind of stopped. I've recorded some and I've not posted.
Okay, but you're still doing it. That's still
Yeah,
fine. You
yeah.
did it for over 90 days, I'm sure.
I did. I have.
Yeah, it's been
And that
over
used
90
to be
days.
with my daily walk as well. That
Mm-hmm.
kind of, as you
Yeah.
said, if you anchor things in, then you do them, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That used to be,
Mm-hmm.
I've got to do my video. That would be with my walk. And I
Good.
don't know why I'm doing them, but I'm not posting them as much. I think now I'm thinking, oh, I have to make it a bit different. I think that's me just
Mm-hmm.
overthinking it now instead of just
Okay.
posting. Before I just post it. Now I've got to do the captions. I've got to,
Okay.
all that.
So you've added more criterias and added
Yes.
more things that's prevented you from actually executing what you were executing perfectly
Yeah.
before. And
Yeah.
perfectionism has come in. So did you sit down to kind of look at the patterns of what worked in your videos and watch a video back, like we said? Because there was a routine we created that said you watch your videos back, you now say, these are the changes I want to make. Then you make those changes. So one of the key changes may have been captions. One was maybe I've been adding music or telling a story. But if you realize that it's getting too complex, rather than abandoning, you just go back to the usual way, and then you keep reiterating. And you can say one day a week, you make sure that video is great. And from there, it becomes 2 videos, and from there, it becomes 3.
It's
But
funny now I can even watch my videos before I couldn't watch it without cringing,
I know, right? It's
You're
cringe
like,
watching
oh, okay,
yourself.
I've actually come up that I can actually watch it before I couldn't watch myself.
That's an
And
improvement, see?
yeah, that is. So I think I've come a long way. I don't know where yeah, I'm getting more confident, more comfortable in front of the
camera. And the only way to improve is by doing.
Yeah, I have to keep on doing it. So
And
I've made 2 videos today. I just have to post.
Oh, okay.
I've made
You
2.
can share them with us, and then we can tell you what to give you
Well,
feedback.
this is it. I've and I think because I want to now be more intentional about what I post, not just
Good. Okay.
yeah.
So your 30 days jaga jaga, you're moving from the jaga jaga way to now be able to create content that you believe speaks what you want it to speak. So you
Yes.
can start with 1 video a week or 2 videos a week with that.
Okay.
You can do your jaga jaga stuff in your stories. And
Yeah.
then your main feed, you can now, because your stories is where your jaga jaga stuff actually goes.
Okay.
So I will say that way.
Okay.
Because what we're looking for is that most creatives feel because they don't have, when it comes to productivity, is when it starts becoming work, it becomes frustrating. But when you're just doing it for the fun of it, so what it is still exciting, and you are not reporting to anybody. Nobody is telling you, oh, these are the parameters. I want this hook. I want this. I want this. I want this. But rather, you are able to create freely still.
Yes.
You've observed other videos and you're like, okay, this is how I want my video to appear. So one of that a week is fine.
And I think the more you watch other people, oh, you need a hook, you need this, you're like, oh,
okay, I'll play devil's advocate. Listen to them and don't listen to them. Choose who to listen to.
Yeah.
And listen, so I will watch videos of people that I like. So this week I will say observe. Do your stuff in your this thing and observe. I was trying to look for the replay for where we talked about it. You're observing without creating. You're just observing for the fun of it. You're no longer consuming to replicate. When we are just trying to move from that consumption to replication, we kind of lose the essence of what we do. So you want to still like an artist, right? So you have your intro, you have all these things, but there are certain people that as you're observing your FYP, you're seeing their videos and you like what they're doing. Observe first, don't take notes, save videos, come back to it, rewatch it. Why did I like this person's intro? How did people respond in the comments? Okay, then you observe again and you're just doing that. Then later you start replicating and building your own intro, because there are certain things you should do before you hit record. Most times, that's why when I say that, oh, when we're going for photo shoots and all these things, I want us to meet before we go for those shoots, as in meet and create together before we now pay videographers. Because what I've observed is sometimes when we get into the studio is when we are now trying to figure out what to do. And that's already paid time. So before you hit record, I'll look for that. I have something I created. There are certain things that you have to do. Practice, look at the other things, observe, then start creating. Be kinder to yourself.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helped.
Yeah, that has.
All right, today has done a different session. Anybody else needs help deciding or decoding why they don't do what they're supposed to do? And we have responses in the chat. I think most times I set I goals. So for those just joining us, please go to Mentimeter. We've kind of changed the format of today's one because I don't want to just teach. I want a situation where we are able to actually improve, actually change, transform the way we get things done and get results. I say study patterns, but one pattern is people are tired of being taught to, and they want to be able to create. But you're not studying your patterns, you're not studying anything, you're just hearing different productivity ideas from 20 different people. And you're like, I just want to try. And then you try it first time and it doesn't work and you are worried. So someone said, I think most times I set a high goal that if I had considered things like time and factors that might play into effect later, I would have known that it won't work. Lack of priority is another. So the person has mentioned 2 things. Number one, setting goals that are very, very high. And we are all Nigerian. Oversabi, they do all of us sometimes because we were not used to sitting down. We have been taught, we've been told, it has been grilled into us that you must always be busy. You cannot be idle. It's like when you are idle, your spirit can't take it. You're hearing your teachers from primary school. You're hearing everybody telling you, you must do more, you must do more, you must do more, you must do more. And that has put a drive in us to always aim big. Now, we've talked about the fact that goals are goals, but after goals are set, one thing you should think about is that you should think about dividing the goals into projects. So that's why I'm always asking, what projects are you working on? So projects. So for example, creative recovery is a project for me. But under creative recovery, there are different tasks that need to be done. For example, preparing this Mentimeter, I forgot till the last minute because I was like, oh, today I'm good till the last minute. But that was an activity. And in order to prepare it, I needed certain activities that I needed to get done. And so I now use that goal, project, activities, task. That helps me to now break things down. And then I think about my attention. How much attention do I need to do it? And the deadline, what are the priorities? So it's about you understanding that if we just say, oh, I would write a blog post, for example, like everybody working on their Substack, everybody is supposed to be contributing an article to Substack every single week. Every single person, from Victoria to Emmanuel to Samuel to Gloria, creative recovery is you people's own. So you guys know what to do. But you choose your topic in advance. When you've chosen your topic, you do your research. These are two different things. But when you just write blog posts, the tendency of you completing it is zero because it's going to be overwhelming. You're like, okay, break things into bite sizes. And those bite sizes are now, when you're planning for the day, you will now say, how much attention do I require to do it? So yes. So another thing, yes, it could be your approach to work. Some people don't understand the sense of urgency. You're always in a rush, but you don't live with the sense of urgency. So you jump into things immediately without thinking about, okay, what deadlines do I have? So at the beginning of the week, in the month, you say, these are the projects I have and these are the deadlines. Every week you look at, oh, this project, this task is due on this date, and then you're planning that way. You don't have priorities. You just gravitate towards the easiest work, and that may be a minimum attention task, and you're like, I've done this, rather than thinking about that long-term project. Sometimes those long-term projects just go on eating somewhere. They become, sometimes when you're using Airtable or something, they'll say, hide this parameter. You've eaten it completely until somebody comes 3 months later and say, okay, what's the update on that project? Working for yourself as a freelancer, working for an agency that gives you freedom, it's kind of makes you the master of yourself, and you become the master of your, you become the expert, you become an expert in either getting things done or getting nothing done. You become the expert of greatness or the expert at just delaying all the time, of excuses, of blaming everybody, or, oh, I did not feel motivated. Motivation is good, but do not rely on motivation to get things done. Stop relying on pressure to get things done. Some of us do need the accountability. That's what daily accountability is for. But even with those simple things as daily accountability, we don't do it because others haven't done it. I won't do it. Do not let the work you do be determined by others. Your approach to work should not be seeing work as something difficult. It's like if you have a child, you tell them to do something and they don't do it. As an adult, you get angry. But when you were in school, your attitude to work may determine your attitude to the way you work now. Maybe you're the one that was always like, oh, this homework is too much. Or you did all the homework and you're like, I will never do anything again. Once I get out of this place, I'm free. The world is changing. And if we do not understand the gravity of this change, AI has made us realize the gravity of this change because most people are becoming replaceable. Study yourself. The honest answer to your patterns, even under pressure, will help you. If you miss a deadline, if you miss doing something, move it to another date and time. Do not let someone come else and tell you to do, because sometimes there is no one to tell you. You have to want it more than any other person, and you have to define what it is to you. Sometimes we are waiting for every single thing to be perfect. And all of us have different approaches to life. Do you plan around your natural energy, routine, task, deadlines, or other people's demands and schedules? Now, when you work for others, when you are representing another brand, they can come with silliness that's if you're good at thinking on your feet, you can make it work. But then when you make it work, there are other things that don't get done. So whatever planning style you have, whether it's you're using Mother Nature, Harmattan season, you focus better, whether you're using task deadline, you're using other people's demands, you're using your own demands, you're creating that atmosphere where you can work together. And that's why I'm really talking about co-working sessions. These are sessions where we can come in and work together. It's supposed to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then we learn on Monday and Fridays. Take advantage of the resources we have. Then some of us don't even think about recovery. We think that, oh, because I didn't have any stressful events this week, I will just go around and do more. Give your body the permission to rest. Probably because of my health, I've always had to take time to rest for the past 20 years. But if not, I will crash and then I will spend more time doing other things. Now, no, January to May, March, April, my mom was around, so it was a very busy period for me. And I am still recovering from that because I was just moving that period. Recovery, rest, self-care. Self-care is not only putting pancake and putting face mask on your face and cucumber. That is not what self-care is. Define what self-care is to you. Some people, it can be drinking kunu. So for someone like me, if they just give me a basket of agbalumo, that is self-care for me. I will sit down and take it. Some of us, it's watching a cartoon. It is different, but it's that mindset that you give your brain permission to rest. And it's not about how long. Sometimes we think about the length of time when we are planning recovery. And no, recovery should not be only when your body breaks down. Recover before your body breaks down. Recovery should be weekly, it should be daily, you should have a wind down routine. You should have a way of doing more of what fires you up. Music fires me up. Musicals fire me up. Korean series fire me up. So what I am doing is I am playing music before I start a session. I had not done it in a while. Today I did it. I told okay to get me a playlist before, and I'm asking for another one. But I know Disney songs kind of fire me up. I know worship songs, Chris Delva. Surround yourself. Ensure that you've created that avenue to do what fires you up, what gets you excited, what charges your battery. Sometimes I would ask you, how was your day? You'd be like, fine. What is your definition of fine? What is your definition of a good day? How do you define success? If I say, oh, how was your week? How has this year been for you? Has it been successful? On your terms, it can be successful, but on your manager's terms, it may be like, you've not done this, you've not done this, you've not done this. So you have to know how you define success for yourself. Even if somebody tells you, oh, you've not done this, that doesn't mean that you're an unsuccessful person. These are patterns we need to start looking into. And when it comes to getting work done, getting things done, these are the things I said we should check. Procrastination patterns, memory gaps. So sometimes you just realize that, oh, if you realize memory gaps, I will talk about memory gaps a little bit. Memory gaps are, you're supposed to do something every Monday, creative recovery, but somebody always has to remind you. You forget that you were supposed to do something for creative recovery until the session starts. You're like, oh, I was supposed to do this task. It could be because of overcommitment. You are overcommitted. You said yes to so many things. You don't have a system So you've not said, okay, these are the projects I'm working on. These are the deadlines. These are the activities. You've not broken things down in a way that works for you. You have mental fatigue. The past few days with all that is going on in the US and everything, and Christians arguing, everybody, you go online is fight, everywhere fight. You're just like, what did we do to people? You are just overwhelmed. Sometimes there is mental fatigue because of what's going on at home at that point in time, what's going on in the office, and what's going on in the world. So it gives you the opportunity to assess what is happening around me that has made me not as committed as I should be. And as I said with these exercises, if you do these exercises, you'll be the best version of yourself. This is about self-mastery, don't get me wrong. You master yourself. And then there are some things that make work easy and effortless for you. There are some things that you do that nobody needs to tell you. You just start smiling and shining 32 and you are doing it. What conditions create that flow state for you? Repeat it. When you're designing your own system, because I want to see what everybody will design at the end of this week based on this, the slides are going to be there. When you're designing your own system, I want you to be intentional. I want you to surround yourself with what makes life or work seem as if it's not work, seem as if it's just as simple as breathing. No, sometimes there are some tasks that are so difficult. The client is difficult. You are just smiling and going through it. Because in your heart, you've made up your mind. You've surrounded yourself. It may be at that point in time, as the person is talking, you are just kabashing and praying, and you're just reminding yourself. If it's prayer that makes your life easy, then set out prayer times that are not just in the morning before you start work. If it's mindless flow, that helps you. And your mindless flow can be a prayer. So when I give ideas of what needs to be done, I want you to fine-tune it to make it yours. I will give you the ingredients. You decide what you're going to do with it. Determine your own approach of getting things done. And I've been doing a lot of talking. Sometimes what I will say is I do shifts as ideas evolve or life pulls me in unexpected directions. Good. But I'm learning to balance inspiration with discipline so my words and my work stay aligned. Perfect. Life is, every day is not equal. Sometimes when you go back and you look at your calendar and if you journal and you say, okay, what happened around that period? You realize that the period that you were pulled in a certain direction, certain things happened. That's why you were not able to do X, Y, Z. Like I said, for me, I realized that this was one of the reasons why I couldn't function to the best of my capacity as I would have loved to. As all of you guys have not even been seeing me, I just try my best to come on Mondays and Fridays. Be honest with yourself. And when that unexpected direction happens and you notice it, stop blaming yourself and take action. Sometimes when those things happen and life doesn't go the way we want it to go, but then we notice that, oh, this was what gave me, I went in this direction because this client, all of a sudden with the newsletter, I started doing certain things that I wasn't supposed to do for her. You learn from that. You don't blame yourself too much for your errors because you made a mistake. You are not a mistake when it comes to your work. You sit down with yourself, you observe every single interaction with that person, and you make the adjustments immediately. You now say, okay, I was supposed to do this, but I didn't do it. I'm making adjustments and I'm making time for that. We may not have not done the creative recovery, unlocking resources for a while, but this is waking up unlocking resources in everybody. And you have to help others unlock their resources. This is for the team. Don't say we've not done it for this number of months and then don't do it, and then you will not do it. The time to wake up is now. So we have to wake up. But I want you guys to vote. When it comes to getting things done, rank what stops you the most. I want you to rank them. What stops you the most? Is it procrastination? Is it forgetting? Is it not the time? When you're ranking it, I want you to think about what stops you the most when it comes to getting things done. And for some people, it's procrastination. Some people, they completely forgot. You just did not remember. You just didn't remember that it existed. So for those that don't remember, we are on mentimeter.com. That's MENTIMETER as in a meter.com. And the code is 47387603. We're looking at, we've talked about what stops us from doing things. Now we want to understand which ones are the most reoccurring. Now, what I am going to do is, if we vote for some, we can now do a training on it and talk about it in details. And then that session, let it be as interactive as possible so that we are not working based on only my lived experience. We're working on everybody's lived experience. Then we can now have a solution that helps us to bring the results that we want. But the question is, because it seems I made a mistake, rank what stops you the most. We want to look at patterns. What are the things that prevent you from doing things? So you're ranking what stops you the most in getting things done. Let's see if it will accept this time. Rank what stops you the most. We're not ranking. We don't know. Nobody is on the Mentimeter. So for some people, this procrastination, it's forgetting. You even forgot completely. So it's not as if you even decided to procrastinate, but after the conversation you had with somebody, it could be your coach, it could be with your accountability partner, you completely forgot that that thing was going to happen. So it wasn't intentional. You go for a training, they say do something, and you just forget because you did not write it down. Or there's this, you want to do it, but there's just something, you're just resisting the work. Or sometimes you're overwhelmed with too many options. DK has given me 1 million ideas. I don't even know which one to pick first. Or you're overthinking, you're like, so if A plus B is equals to C, how does D come into the equation? But Pythagoras theorem has A plus B equals to C, does not have D, E, F, G, H, but you have brought angles that don't exist. You're now overanalyzing, overthinking, expanding what should not be expanded. And you're not even asking for help. You're not asking questions. You are just moving. If we understand what holds us back as a collective, we can collectively create a system that helps us. We can collectively create a system that helps us. If you have to leave the call, Victoria, you're going to have to watch the replay and get the task done. That's what I will say. Please always watch the replays. Now, there are things that you should look at when you're looking at your patterns. If you observe there are certain things that distract you, list them out. These things, you're supposed to be doing graphic designs, but you end up doing something else. You have to start writing an email, and then a client calls, and then you have to start doing another work that people did not even plan. You are not interested in the project, or the project just came out of the blues and your boss has said we have to do it. List your top 3 distractions. It could be social media. It could be that your friend just calls you to start gisting, and then all of a sudden you're gisting for 3 hours. Or somebody wants to pick your brain, and then they're picking your brain forever. What are your top 3 distractions? Another thing I want you to look at is, when do you feel most capable and creative? When does your creative energy consistently crash? Some people, immediately after eating, even if it's just sandwiches, you go for a workshop and they eat, they just crash, they can't do anything. Some people have food coma. After eating, they just go. So they know that, yes, they can't fix anything after lunch. So they will fix something after breakfast and before dinner, because they understand their energy. Or they know after dinner, I have to go and do X, Y, Z. Okay, I'll fix something later. So I will sleep early and wake up because I have more energy as a night owl or as an early bird. Figure out what works for you. Where do you thrive? Do you thrive? Do you do your best in a noisy environment? Do you have to have interaction with people? Can you stay indoors all the time? and still walk? Do you still have to touch nature before you come into work? Are you somebody that deadlines are what make you do things? Or when you're collaborating with people, that's when you do your best work? And look at also what patterns are holding you back. You want to know what's preventing you from functioning the way you should function. So what's holding you back? These are things that have become non-negotiable, because sometimes we negotiate with the things that we shouldn't be negotiating is. And one thing I want us to discuss, or people can write in the chat, when you complete work with ease, what conditions made it possible? And as usual, you can write it in the Mentimeter, same instructions. When you have been able to focus, that period where you did work and your work was successful, you were excited, it was so easy. What made it possible? For me, sometimes is that separation before I work. The fact that as an introvert, I need to recharge my battery before I get work done has made it possible for me to work. That's one thing that I always need to have, peace and quiet. For me also, it is that collaborative environment where I can share my ideas, share what I am doing and learn from it. That makes it possible for me to work. So you to list out what is it that makes it possible for you to work with ease. Sometimes some people like the stress of deadlines. For some people, it's having a plan and then executing it, knowing what I am doing, and having all the resources around me. Because we need to work with the information we have. I called it collective wisdom. And I'll ask this question again. I'm not looking at what's wrong, but looking at what is working. So many times we place emphasis on, oh, the reason we're not doing this is because of this. We are lazy, we are this, we are that. But there are certain things that work for you or have worked for you in the past. Let's list them. Let's support each other. Let's talk about them. Anybody care to share? Lola, Mayan, what are the, yes.
So what, I have to have all my things around me. I have to have all the resources.
Mm-hmm.
And that just, I can be focused then. If not, I'll get up and get this, get up. So I have to have my tea, have to have this, I have to have the books, I just have to have, even there was when I was in pain, I had to have my hot water bottle for my feet, just everything had
Exactly, especially now that the weather is changing.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, but once even today, to get me excited about my Substack, because I've got my topic already.
Yeah, that is good.
I went and bought the highlighters,
Are you serious? So
I know,
stationery, I
and
forgot
the
about that.
little
Yes.
the index tabs, the colorful
Oh,
ones that
that
got me
is good.
excited. Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice. See how I get excited about stationery,
I
because that
know, I
makes my
know.
life. As in the moment I just start looking at the papers, and
Exactly.
the paper has to be smooth on my skin.
Mm.
I was excited. I bought one planner once, and when I tried writing in it, everything just went. So my sister was like, "What happened?" I said, "The paper is rough." It was so rough on my skin. I was so disappointed. No, I've never been so disappointed in any stationery in my life like that one. It was the most off-putting thing for me from Paper Chase, and I've not bought from Paper Chase since then.
I think they've even closed, haven't they? I know they did.
Are you joking?
I
Oh,
think
that
they
was one of
did.
my favorite
I
stores.
know it was. I loved it.
I buy my stationery from Shein now. They have amazing stationery. Lovely notebooks. But yeah, thank you for sharing that. Put what makes your life easy. I like my blankets. I will have my
Yep.
blankets
Yep.
around me. There was a
Yep.
time that sometimes I move between warm, hot, and cold water or juice. So I would have my flask of hot water, and then I have my room temperature water. So I mix it. Then it has that temperature I want, and I'm sipping through a straw.
Yeah, that's
Then,
me. I have to have my flask of tea. It has to be there. Two sets of teas, everything around me. Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sometimes talking about my ideas with somebody helps
Okay.
me because as a creative, everything is in your brain.
Mm.
So you need an outlet to say, okay, these are my thoughts that I am having. I want to talk with somebody that understands
Yes.
what I am going through or what I am saying. Like now, my dad might call and say something about, oh, I want to go and take a course on cloud computing. I'm like, cloud computing and what I'm doing, do they make sense? And then I'm trying to explain to him how AI is this and other things. He just doesn't understand. It doesn't understand. So it sounds like you're telling jargons, but when it's someone that is like-minded, like when you said you had your Substack, the person is excited, but someone else, you say you have a Substack, how many people are reading it? That thing can now make you feel like that's not why we started it. We're starting it for this, and they may not understand. So things like that. The reason I am going for us diagnosing our system is the internet is full of productivity, life hacks, organizational methods. You're watching these videos. Somebody says, you know what, you must buy this planner. Once you have this planner, your life is complete. What has held me back from releasing a planner is that phrase. I don't want to create a planner and tell the person that once you plan this, get this planner. Jesus Christ is Lord. And it's a magical stuff. Everything will work together for you. That's not true. I am the queen of planners. I have bought almost every planner you can imagine in this world, and I have my own planner. But sometimes tools are sold to us as if they will change every single thing once we use them. That's not necessarily the truth. AI doesn't change everything because it exists. You have to use it first and use it well. And sometimes using it is not as straightforward as we want it to be. But when we use a system that works for us, like I work AM and PM, for example. So when I'm doing my 1, 2, 3 system, I will do it for AM, I'll do it for PM. Somebody else may just be able to work on their creative work 3 hours a week. The rest, they're at the office, they're at church, they're mothers, they're everywhere. But you have to diagnose your system, yourself. We've prescribed things for people without doing that diagnosis. So that's why the quiz and all these things that we create are supposed to help tell you who you are, and based on who you are, this is what could work for you. Generic solutions, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work. Sometimes they open our eyes to see things that we should see. But that system needs to fit you, not the other way around. And you make it fit you by using it. So a couple of things that I will just say, and you can take a screenshot of this. Systems must be personal. There's no holy grail, there's no narrow road. It has to be something that works for you. You put into that system you're building what works for you. There should be non-negotiable anchors that you have that set your routine. I do mine morning and evening because if I'm doing my morning and evening, if I wake up from 5 a.m., I can say 5 to 8. That's my morning, and then 8 to something else. Patterns reveal your gaps, and your gaps should not make you ridicule yourself. So what we are doing today, what we've done today is a diagnosis that would lead to an alignment and action. I always say, let's move from awareness to acceptance to action. So if you are procrastinating, you know that, yes, I am procrastinating. You're not saying I don't procrastinate in Jesus' name. You are aware of what you do, but then you've accepted it and then you're taking action. The actions we're looking at are your daily anchors, your weekly rhythms, your creative arsenal, the tools and techniques that you use, and this helps you build your system. It's a flow. And this is just the beginning. Because when you use the system, you study and then you make changes. You look at it, you make changes. It's not once done and never done again. Weekly layer, you have your master list, which captures every single thing. Then you prioritize and choose what matters based on the commitment for the month or for the quarter. You make your weekly plan, you sketch a rhythm that works for you. Then you make your non-negotiables fit into that weekly plan. the things that you know that no matter what you must do. For some people, their non-negotiable is prayer, is meditation, is that walk that you take, and nothing can take away from that. And then you stack things with that non-negotiable that you already do with ease. What makes you praying in the morning easy for you? You have taken God as a priority. If God is a priority in your life, and he has said, whatever you do, do it with all your heart, do it unto the Lord and not unto man, for on his word you can depend. That's from Kids Praise. All of us that grew up watching Kids Praise. You now understand that other people not doing what they're supposed to do should not affect me. So I will manage my expectations. So that goes to expectation management. It's a mirror, not a fantasy. You set realistic expectations for yourself based on your patterns, not just based on your aspiration. And this is the beauty of running that practice that we are building. So everybody has to make small changes, just one small change. My suggestion is everybody should do daily accountability as their small change, because we've not been doing it. And even if nobody else does it, you still do it. The most important part of any diagnosis is what happens next. So we're not just going to say, start building your anchors, start building this, start building your morning routine and your night routine. You can start with your morning routine and then later add the night routine. For me, my morning routine changes depending on my health, depending on my appointment. So I have a morning routine for days that I am completely bed bound. And then I have a morning routine for days that I have energy. So I had to create like 5 morning routines. When we talk about routine building, I'll go into details about that. But for some people, it's like a one size fits all for weekdays and one size fits all for weekends. The way Saturday morning, you play that music and you start cleaning your house, that is your weekend routine. Do what needs to be done. You don't need my system. I share my lived experience and my system to help you build your own. You are building your own blueprint, and you can name it whatever fancy name you call it. But it's the principles and insights that you are taking to build yours. It's what works for your creative life, not mine. So I am giving you ideas. I am giving you things that could lead you to take one small step this week. And it starts here. Not a massive commitment, not a perfect plan, not a complete transformation, just one small step that takes you towards that alignment between your intentions and actions. Some of us know what to do, but we don't do it. So there's a gap between knowing and doing. And that gap for some people, it's so wide because you are so creative, you are great, you are one of the best, but nobody sees and hears about you because the gap between knowing and doing is wide. So as we're going into this stage of creative recovery phase 2, we are looking at the commitment we're making to ourselves and we are holding you accountable. Because sometimes when we hold you accountable, if not all the time, it kind of makes you the best version of yourself. There's a version that I see that you may not see. I see the potential in people, but we're moving from potential to progress. Let's stop holding all because this person has potential. No. Let's make progress. You have to make practices that are sustainable for you. I would have continued going, for example, I would have continued going with the team morning and evening, although they are supposed to still be doing that. But I knew that doing that would break me down completely. So I did not. So my creative recovery is in understanding that I do not have the capacity to fly the way I want to. So a small step to me is enough. And that small step is actually a very big step in my life. For someone else, they'll just see it as something tiny. One small step this week that you are going to make, write it down in the chat so we can hold you accountable. And when it comes to doing work and building that system, this is what I will say in conclusion. Repeat what works. You know what works, you know what gets you excited, you know that, okay, stacking your stuff works. When you wake up in the morning, not praying close to your bed works. You are listening to too many people and I want you to filter the inputs that you are getting. with time, you will pick who you would listen to. But constant consumption of content, patterns, podcasts, external advice, well-meaning good advice that is bad. It does not create space for internal reflection. And I want us to create space for internal reflection. I want you to observe your patterns. Pay close attention to your energy levels, your peak performance, your distractions, conditions that lead to your best work. When have you done your best work? Then you have the spirit of discernment. Everybody knows in their guts. There are sometimes I was telling someone that most ladies, we should trust our guts, because we trusted your guts and you did not do something, and then, or you did it and you're like, I should have just done what I had in mind. Discern what works. The truth is, the only person that knows what works for you is you. That's the only person. Identify specific actions, environments, or routines that consistently contribute to your success and well-being. We're not separating your well-being. We're not saying because we want what's best for you, you're going to walk yourself to a way where you can't see yourself anymore. Then I want you to repeat and refine. You will start integrating this into your life. It then becomes part and parcel of you. Your weekly accountability comes something that nobody will tell you to do it, but you already know, I have to study my patterns for last week, and then I have to plan for the new week. Oh, I have a 9 to 5. Okay. But after my 9 to 5, I have to do 2 hours work on this thing every day. Showing up for yourself is not showing up for me. But building a system for yourself is the best gift you can give yourself. And questions. Any questions, any contribution, anything at all?
Thank you, DK. I needed this refresher because,
You're welcome.
as you said, we have to build our own pattern. So it's to sandwich, like you have a daily routine and then you add things to anchor it, to make it, isn't it?
Yes.
And that's what I'm like, okay, I do this, Why don't I've started doing 15 minutes meditation.
Oh, that's good. That really
Before
helps.
I go to bed, and I fall asleep straight away. 14 minutes every night. So I'm thinking, why don't I do it in the morning? So I
Did
could,
that make you fall asleep in the morning?
no, because, well, when I'm awake in the morning, I'm awake. Do you
Okay,
see?
good.
Yes. So then if I do the meditation, then it would lead me to do some writing, my journaling, which will
Okay.
be in. So
Yeah,
now
try
I've
it.
started thinking about changing or adding what I do at night to something. So, and then this
Yeah,
could be before my daily walk or
that's
when
good
I come
because you
back
can
from my
stack
daily
it.
walk, because I have a routine in the morning anyway.
I know your morning routine and I love
Yeah.
it. Please keep sharing with us. Do it
Okay.
in your stories. I would say you can start habit stacking for your morning routine because your morning routine is already good.
Mm.
So you can add something to it. So add your meditation 15 minutes. Then
Mm.
once you do that, your the weather is not so beautiful, my end, but I know you under the sun and in the rain.
If I could walk in the winter.
Oh, the wind today.
If I could
Honestly, I
walk
don't
in
want
the
to.
winter and the wind, then yeah, yeah.
Girl, so your outfits are ready. Your hair is locked up in a way that, yes, so it's not getting wet. And you sail out. So yes, I will say start stacking things that
Okay.
work for you. So now what we have to now build for you will be after your walk, what do you do?
Mm,
How do you build your practice? Because you're building a practice of one.
yeah.
And probably your daughter and other people will join your practice. But there's work that needs to be done daily. So the daily accountability, daily co-working sessions or the co-working sessions can work for you because then you know between this time to this time I am doing this.
Yeah.
And you have courses that you want to take. You're going to be going into coaching if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
and other things. So you want to start thinking about, oh, do I start practicing for these calls? So that when I have the calls itself, I already know that this is my flow. You start thinking, if somebody comes to me and they want me to coach them, do I have a system that takes them from that discovery call to this end. So that's where I think that we need to build, unless you've already built that,
No,
but
I haven't done that.
but that's my opinion. I think
Okay.
that's what you need to build now. So it will be looking at what you currently have and what your goals and aspiration are for that particular area. Content-wise, we're building with Sabiko and we're building your solution frame. So that could also lead to your workflow. And that will lead to your workflow actually, because when you build the solution frame, you are going to now say specific things that you're doing with that solution frame, and you're able to create that. We're calling it the shift. What shift do you want to see in the industry? You now build that framework to help with that shift, is how I would say it. But Sabiko will take care of some of those things. But yeah, your morning and night routine, start stacking them I don't overstack them, that it becomes work.
Yeah.
Yes, because there's skill stacking, that there's habit stacking. So don't overstack them that it becomes tedious. So you already know the meditation is there. Do you take a specific tea before you start your meditation? What exactly do you do? Because sometimes, yes, when you're able to silence your mind and go away from all the noise, you fall asleep. Okay. All right, then. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to put this up on Creative Recovery Substack today. I've created my daily plan for what I'll be sharing on Substacks. And on Sundays, I will do my rant.
Sorry, DK, you could see I've followed you already.
I just saw it. I downloaded the app. Have you downloaded the app?
Yes, I have. I have.
I'm so excited to see, but I'm going to be posting daily.
Good.
Sundays are going to be my rants. All the
Okay.
rants I used to make about everything and anything going on in our industry and in the world. On Sundays, I rant. On Tuesdays, I will share tips and tools and things like that. So I've broken it down to what I want to do daily because, like I said, I have to start coming back out gradually.
I'm
And
so happy.
this is I'm excited. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mayan, and everybody else that is on the call.
Thank you.
And the replay will be on Substack. It will also be for those that are in the other website, commitmentcircle.com. Lucky we put it there. And it was wonderful sharing with you people today. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, Lola. Bye, Mayan. Bye, Comfort.
Thank you so much, DK. Bye, everyone.